Hey everybody, it's time for our weekly lesson, and I think I'm going to do my lovebirds as like parakeets. So I found a couple of parakeet images, and I'm inspired by that. So I printed this one out, and I did a really quick little sketch. I was going to do it on a square canvas, but in doing my square sketch, I realized it would look much better. The composition would look much better in a tall format. So I'm actually going to do it on a 6x12 piece of mixed media paper. Hi, Carolyn. So it's going to be something like this. It's twice as tall as it is wide, 6x12, and I think I'm going to have plenty of room for cherry blossom branches to be coming down. I'm going to have them somewhere like this. Maybe the branch will be kind of like that. They kind of subliminally form a heart shape. And that's really it. Yeah, something like that. A very simple composition. And so I'm going to get my paints out. I'm going to talk about the paint colors we're going to be using for this. So I'm looking at some old paintings that I did. It's kind of a mashup of this one. I think this was Moonlit Blossoms or something is what I called this one. And it's going to be a mashup between this and this one. And these were, I don't remember, Moonlit Lovebirds. So, but this one I'm doing today is not going to be moonlit necessarily. It's going to be a bright sky, and I'm going to have no mountain or no tree trunk, but just focus on the birds and the blossoms. So that's what I'm going to try to do today with my composition. So I've got my paint box with my primaries. I've got 3 different yellows, 3 different reds, and 3 different blues. Got some white and black on the side over here. And, you know, if you're painting along with me, go ahead and grab your water cup, your brushes, your paper towels. I like to get my paper towels all peeled off the roll so that they're ready for me to grab. And the colors in this are really beautiful, cool colors that work really well together. Let's see, I don't have a phthalo green. I might grab a phthalo green. Let's see if I have some. Yeah, I have it. Don't have any more phthalo green. I sold it all to Carolyn. So that's okay. We'll make our own green. And today I've got my handy dandy little spatula that I'm going to use to lift my paint colors out of the paint box. So let's do that first. Let's make a teal green. Let's get some white on here too. So again, I'm going to try and set up my Stay Wet palette so that I've got my light colors on the top. Oh, that's Carolyn, you don't have to apologize. Dark colors on the bottom, cool on one side, warm on the other side. But really, this painting, it's really all, well, pink is the only warm color. If you have alizarin crimson, this definitely calls for that. I don't have alizarin crimson. I have quinacridone magenta. So I'm going to put out some quinacridone magenta in the middle. Wipe this off. I'm going to put yellow. Well, you know what? I don't think I'm really going to be using any yellow, except for mixing it into my green. So I'm just going to grab some cool yellow, put that up there. Wipe my spatula off. Probably gonna need a lot more of this magenta. Okay, and then I need some blue. So I need like a phthalo blue to make my teal color. And then I need ultramarine blue for, but I'm gonna keep my colors a lot lighter than the moonlit one. So I'm not gonna grab a ton of it, but I'll put my phthalo blue here and my ultramarine blue on the other side. So here's my ultramarine blue, put that here. All right. Wipe this off, and I'm gonna switch out, just get rid of this paper towel because it's just gonna be a big mess. I keep wiping where there already was paint. So, from this now, I just wanna show you some color mixes that I think I wanna use today for this painting. Okay, so, and I'm gonna put them right on this piece of paper. So I've got a bit of a plan ready, and now I'm going to be working up my colors, and then I can just concentrate on painting once I have that figured out. So let's make our teal by getting a little white, a little yellow, and of course phthalo. And here's a beautiful teal color. Love that. Aqua, you might call it. So that's one of my colors, like an aqua color. Okay. I also want to have like this ultramarine blue, but a lot lighter. So I'm just going to grab some white. Ultramarine blue mixed with white. Oh, sorry, you can't really see what I'm mixing over here. This might be a little too dark even. Let's grab some more white. Yeah, I want to keep it light. So there's my ultramarine blue and white. Kind of looks periwinkle. And then I want a nice pink. Of course, I can get that with my quinacridone magenta and white. So we'll do that over here. This is a real pale pink. Just like a icy pink. Put that right here next to the green. And that's really it, right? I think that's it. Those are the main colors, and we're gonna just kind of blend in between those. I might have a slight variation of one that, oh, I could do a purple. Let's do a really pale purple where we'll have the ultramarine blue, white, and some quinacridone magenta. So it can be a, you know, towards the red violet or more blue violet, depending on what you like. So there's that. Okay, that's better. 4 colors. All right, so these are our 4 main colors we're going to have going on in here in this painting. So it's very springish, lighthearted, and you know, and fun. Yeah, I didn't even need that much yellow. Who knows, I might use yellow on their faces or their beaks. I'm looking at this, and there is a little bit of like a yellow right there. So, and these guys, they've got a little yellow orange right there, which kind of, you know, just through, that would be a way to emphasize that isolated bit of yellow orange in the middle of all these other colors will help bring that to, as a focal point. So now I've got my paper. So what I did is I took some mixed media paper and measured out a 6 by 12 and put some gesso on it with a chip brush so that there's just a little bit of texture ridges on there. I don't know if you can really see it. Yeah, now you can see, right? There's just a little, I want to see those little ridges. And I just did this a few minutes ago, and so I hit it with a blow dryer. And I'm ready to go. All right, let me lift up my chair. I need to sit a little higher. Sit on my stool. So yeah, I have found that if I'm painting with my canvas on a table flat, I really do need to sit up higher, like on a bar stool or something, so that I can look down on the work and actually see it all. So the very first thing we're going to do is paint in a background. And, you know, on this, we had this whole radial gradient swirls going on. I kind of want that, but not so much. I'm going to close my paint box up. I'm going to try and get in the habit of closing my paint box and putting it in. This is a bread bag to help it last longer. And it'll just keep it moist, keep the paint a little bit moist longer that way. Okay, so yeah, I don't really want to do the whole, this is putting a shadow over there, so let me move that out of the way. So yeah, I think I want to have them over here. So maybe I will, well, I wanted to draw them in chalk. They're going to be right about here. Or it's going to be small. So, okay, let's just grab like a 3/4 inch brush. So this is a 6 by 12 that I'm working on. I'm grabbing my 3/4 inch flat wash brush, dipping it in the water and wiping it off so it's not too watery. And I'm probably just going to use like mostly this tealish color. Let's try this. And I don't know that I want a radial thing going on. I'm not sure what I want. But I do know that this color looks really good with cherry blossoms. So maybe I'll just keep it really light, like we're looking up into a cherry blossom tree. And it's a little bit darker where my lovebirds are going to be. Really, they're parakeets. So this is just going to be nice and loose. And maybe up here it gets just a little bit pinkish, the sky. And of course, if you mix like a quinacridone magenta with a cool blue, a cool green, it goes purple. You know, because it's mostly blue and pink. So, might even get just a little bit pinker up there. Maybe that's the distant pinkness of the tree. So it's very, very light and airy and springish. And that might be all I need, really. It is going to dry out just a little bit darker. All right, so this needs to dry. And maybe while it's drying, I'll talk a little bit about the drawing of the parakeets, or the lovebirds. So I'm going to turn it over on the other side. And really what we want to do is to make them kind of look like a heart shape, just really subliminally. So you could like, let's draw my my rough of my thing, my canvas shape. You could have them, you know, either up here or down here. Pick one or the other. I think I want them down here so that the cherry blossoms kind of point down towards them. And I'm going to make them nice and elongated, actually. So I'm going to draw a heart. And then I'm going to morph it into a bird shape, if you will. So the tail, here's the other one, and they're going to be like touching. Or maybe even crossing over. I've done that where their tails kind of cross over each other. That might be better. So it's like a teardrop, right? And then you can just add a head on. They don't have much of a neck, birds, you know. So I'm gonna show you this closer up in just a second. This is gonna be the head. I don't know why I'm making one taller than the other. Maybe he's too tall. Yeah, he's too tall. Not looking right. And when I go back to my little reference here, and you know, always, guys, look at a reference. Look at something to help you out. It's going to improve your work so much if you just take the time to go look at some reference. Okay, so I'm not looking at the back of a bird, but I can still get an idea. It's not really drawn. I'm rough. This is just really roughed in. So they have a very flat beak, and their eye is in the middle of their head, you know. And then this one's going to be just a little bit taller, maybe. Eye in the middle of the head, right? And the interesting thing about their backs, I did find a pair of parakeets. If you're looking at their backs, there's like a weird shape that happens. Like this. So here's his body, right? Here's his one wing goes like this, and the other wing goes like this. So you see their back in between here. This is their back was a different color. So that's how you know you're looking at their back. So that's what I'm going to do here. And the wings are going to have stripes on them, and the back isn't. That's how it's going to be differentiated. And the stripes go all up their shoulders and around their head and all of that. So the stripes is going to give movement and interest and contrast and center of interest. All of these things all at once. So that's it very roughly. Okay, so now that we have an idea of what the bird is going to look like, the birds, we're going to go back to our background that we've painted, and it still feels wet, so I'm going to hit it with my blow dryer. Sorry. I'll give you a chance to practice drawing more birds if you'd like. You can look at that. That looks pretty good now. It's pretty dry now. It's a little bit buckled, this paper, but that's okay. And I'm going to keep these cute photos nearby. I really love this one. These birds are so pretty, aren't they? Okay. So now I almost want to make them front facing, you know. I guess that would, you know what? I wonder if I should make them front facing. You know what? Let's explore that for a second. Maybe that would look better. What do you think? Okay, here, let's try it. And then of course we're going to have to put their claws in if they're going to be front facing. Use this as our inspiration. So should our lovebirds be front facing, or should we be looking at their backs? I suppose you could do, you know, whichever way you want. But let's say you do want to do it front facing. Okay. And really, apparently they like to sit on a branch that's pretty horizontal. You know, no weird crazy angles. And they're going to have these, you know, claws, but I would say first let's get their bodies in and put the tail. So what I do is I like to just draw this heart, because it's got to look like a heart first of all. That's the whole point of this cute painting. So draw your heart in. Right, so there's my heart. The bodies of the birds are really close together, almost touching. They could be touching if you want. Their tails are crossing over. They're going to have their little claws, 2 sets of claws here. And then I might have mine a little bit tall. So let's do this. Let's cut it here and make that into the head. Yeah, that looks better proportion. A little more like that. I had them too tall. And their eye, when they're turned in profile, their eye is almost in the center of their head, and then they've got a flat little beak. No neck. They really have no neck. They have like maybe a lump on their back. That's about it. And then we can put a little bit of wing out here and wing here, and that will have the stripes on it. Oh yeah, I think that'll work. Yeah, I think that'll work. Actually, I don't like them in profile. I'm going to turn their head in just slightly, something like that. I don't know if you could tell what I have there. So it's kind of like... And the other one's head is going to be like that too. And their heads are going to be really striped. Okay, so it's going to be something like that. If you want to look at the screen, it's something like that. I may have drawn the head a little too big. And actually, I guess the back of the head is even wider. Yeah, when I look at this reference. Yeah. Like a wide head, and then the wing comes out. Yeah. Oh, and the beak is shorter. Hold on. See, all these observations we're now making. The beak is like, it's almost like a square with a little point. And this tiny little eye way on the side. I had that, yeah, move the eye way on the side. Way over there. That's better. there's a lot of space from the between the beak and the eye. And their heads are kind of flat. Okay, I think this looks a lot better. All right. Yeah, you know, birds, for me, birds are not easy to draw. I'll be honest, they just aren't. But I think that's close enough. I really do. I think that's close enough. And I think I am going to do them front facing. Okay. So now what we can do is we can use like school chalk to rough in. Where's my school chalk? To kind of rough in the shape. And who do I have here? I've got 3 people watching, but I only see Carolyn. So say hello if you would, please, so that I know who you are. Because it's kind of weird painting when you don't know who's watching you. What? I guess I should be over that by now. All right, so I want them to be about here. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a heart in. Oh, hi, Helen. Hello. It's great to have you here. Oh, my goodness. We never get to see you, girl. All right. So I'm putting that bottom shape of the tail, the way the tail comes out. And one's going to be in front of the other. I don't know which one is in front yet, but it doesn't matter. Okay. And I know that you can't really see this yet, but you will soon, I promise. Here's the branch. Actually, that's too low. I'm going to put the branch up higher. Picture about where their feet would be and put the branch there. Okay. So now then I'm going to figure out where the head is, something like that. Right? And that looks pretty good. I think that looks pretty good. Oh, I just really scratched that. All right, so now I want to kind of figure out how I'm going to have beautiful cherry blossom branches coming down. I guess they're just going to be every which way. Cherry blossom branches, right? I'm not even going to worry about it. Just going to put lines. And then I'll figure it out later. All these chalk lines can be taken off, by the way. All right, so now, if you start to feel like you kind of have something going on there, then you can pick up your pencil. And we do need to kind of pencil in, you know, where they're going to be. So I'm going to look at my little cheat sheet here that I did. And I'm going to do the head, comes out like this, then the body. So here's my one bird. Here's her little beak, and her eye is way over here. Okay? Something like that. And then the other one, I'm going to do the shoulder. And I'm just going to mirror the same beak. Eye way over here. Just try to do the same thing backwards, I guess. You know, and these could be like little, I don't know, doves or something. I don't know. That looks kind of long, doesn't it? But, you know, it's okay. We're exaggerating a little bit. And then their claws are just maybe 3 little marks. like that. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I don't know if I don't like that quite so much, so I can make changes. That's better. Okay, so something like that. Now, I like how that one is really small and low, actually. Parakeets have high foreheads, so the eye is way over there. Way, way, way over there. Okay, that looks, I think that looks pretty good. I like it, I like it. Oh, their wings kind of start low, don't they? Yeah, okay. They really look like a pair of bookends there, don't they? All right, so, and then of course, this is a cherry blossom tree, so it's gonna have branches, right, coming off of it. Needs to have that going on. I have a tendency to, look, I made that one the same angle as that one, so don't want to do that. Maybe something like that instead. And then maybe there's another branch kind of going up like this. And some of these could go down and point at their heads. So we want to use line to our advantage to bring the eye where we want it to go. Maybe one's coming in from the top and pointing straight down at them. You know, maybe that's enough. All right. Oh, I want some to go behind them too, so let's do that. All right, so some of it is just going to be soft blurbs of color, and some of it is going to be actual branches. I think what I'm going to do is the distant, soft blossoms on the tree, and then I'm going to put a layer of branches, and then I'm going to put blossoms on top of that. So we're going to do the distant foliage and blossoms on the tree first in soft colors, very similar to our background. So I think I want a round brush or a filbert for that. So I'm going to try this. This is a number 4. I probably need something bigger. Here's a 6, or maybe even an 8. So something that you can do soft blobby shapes. So I'm going to go back to my palette again, and I'm going to start up here. And since these are the distant pink blossoms, they're going to be lighter and cooler. You know, maybe they're kind of pinky purplish. And I'm going to hold my brush loosely and just have fun with this. Think about if you were looking at a cherry blossom tree with your camera on that blur setting, think about what the distant branches would look like. That's basically what we're painting right now. And you don't need a ton of these. I'm going to keep them on the purplish side, rosy, or the red violet, very pale red violet side. But you know, it's spring and they're all over this tree. It's like a gorgeous tree, full bloom, and these lovebirds are hiding out in this gorgeous tree. Stay loose, my friends. Stay loose for this. Very loose. And there's a little bit of color shift going on. This should be fun, by the way. This should be just, you should be having a lot of fun and not worrying too much about anything. Now their heads are going to be kind of white, so I really do want a concentration of maybe a mid-tone value behind their heads. So I'm going to focus a little bit more right there by them, so that their heads will later on pop out nicely against it. Okay, so this is probably good enough. So yeah, we do have a little bit of pre-planning going on in our heads. Any place you know is going to be white on the bird, put a little bit of a darker value next to where that's going to be. That is giving me an idea for spring. Good, I'm glad. I'm so glad, Tammy. Okay, so it feels light and happy and all that. I'm very happy so far. Now I need to let that kind of dry. Well, you know, maybe not, maybe not. I want to do my branches now, okay? So I think a really pale branch color, a neutral, like a, let's mix up a color for that. What do I do with my paints? Oh, here they are. Now I do have raw sienna in my palette, which is a beautiful, a true neutral yellow. So you definitely need to make the branches light yet neutral, earthy color. Like you could use, you know, raw sienna and a little bit of black or raw umber or burnt umber, or, you know, burnt sienna, but warm it up with some yellow, you know. So I'll show you what I mean. We need a color that is, and I'm going to do it on another mixing dish that I got. I got white and a tiny bit of black. I suppose you could just use really pale gray. But if we add a little raw sienna to this, look how much better that looks. It looks a lot more like a real tree branch, don't you think, guys? And of course, you know, with a lot of yellows, you can mix yellow with black and get a beautiful muted green. Okay. So I could take my cool yellow, cad yellow light, let's say, add a a really tiny bit of black, and look at, you get a green shade, which is that's a beautiful, you know, young spring green color. But I don't think that would totally look great as a branch color. This would be great for those leaves, I suppose. Which actually I might just go in and these would look good splattered. Oh yeah, splatter, splatter. I'm already splattering. How bad am I? Oh yeah, it looks nice splattered. Or, you know, a light wash of it here and there. Again, we want that spring feeling, and this sort of green is definitely going to give you that springish feeling, right? Okay, so there's that. I was talking about branch color and I got off on a tangent, didn't I? All right, so let's make some more of this branch color. Raw sienna, or you could use yellow ochre, you know, something like that. Or some sort of a brown. I don't even have a brown out right now. So that's why I'm adding a little bit of black instead. If I wanted to make this maybe a little browner, I could probably add some blue. Maybe I'm going to add a little bit of my Indanthrene blue. Oh, it's going to make it go really green, though, I think. Yeah, nope. Nope, nope, nope. If something's too green and you want to neutralize it, you add red to it. So let's do that. And then you get purple. But it is a little more browny. And I don't know, that might be a decent branch color. Yeah, actually, you know, sometimes when you actually go and put it on there, you just test it and see, and it's like, oh, yeah, maybe I could use that after all. Right? That looks so good with the light green. You like the light green? Yeah. Okay, let's add some more white to this. I think I can get away with this branch color. So any thick branches that you have, you can still do with this size brush. But very soon, you know, this size isn't going to work too well for me. So I'll switch it up and get a thinner. I may have kind of made my branches too thick already. And let me just say, inevitably, if you're teaching this class, people are going to be really afraid of drawing branches and really afraid of making their lines too thick and all of that. So honestly, go ahead and I would say just paint thick branches so that people see that it's not the end of the world. And it really isn't. If the branches are too, you know, are thick, it's not the end of the world. We're gonna put a ton of beautiful flowers, like a ton of flowers all over this thing. Okay. So we just want like hints of branches here and there. And that's probably pretty good. All right, so now, oh, I gotta plug in my my phone. Hold on. And I'm noticing too, as I walk away and look at the painting, that my eye goes right to that branch. Sorry, I'm trying to plug in. There we go, good. My eye goes right to this. It's very strong. That's okay. That's going to be what leads the eye in. And what I want to do is bring the eye around and keep the viewer's attention. So I'm going to try and do that through, you know, we were talking about these design elements in our morning chat the other morning. And, you know, balance is one thing and emphasis is another thing. And there's all these different ways you can emphasize different parts that you want to bring the viewer's attention to. Yeah. Yeah, it has a, yeah, hopefully it'll have a nice kind of Japanese feel. Okay, so maybe now we'll do a little bit on the birds. And the birds can be, I mean, I love these colors from this. And, you know, I'm using some reference images, but I'm not going to steal and copy this exact thing. I'm kind of coming up with my own mashup, if you will. I love this color too, so I'll use that also. So, you know, we want to have, you know, reference, always have a reference, and we want more than one reference. You know, I mean, these almost look like they might have been shot at the same time, but they were from different searches, actually. But yeah, I think I want to do that. And, you know, maybe to be safe, I don't have to make this the bird with the darker blue. I can make this the bird with the darker blue, you know, just so that it doesn't look too much like this reference. You know, there's always all these little things you can do to, you know. So anyway, that darker blue definitely looks like our ultramarine and white. right here that we're going to be using. So I think I still have that on my palette here, and I'm going to go ahead and paint this guy with that color. Right, so here it is. Might need to freshen it a little bit. Might even make it just a skosh lighter. So this guy is ultramarine blue. And I don't know exactly where the white of his head is going to come in yet. So I'm just going to kind of blob it on there. I don't know exactly how the wing is going to come in, so I don't know. I'm just going to kind of fake it on there. The nice thing about this style, I'm going to use a little bit of this on the other bird as well so that they harmonize. Maybe this would be the shadow of this one's, this bird's body would be a little bit more, this could be the shadow for that guy. Okay. And now I want to use maybe phthalo blue, you know, the blue-green blue for this one's body. So this is just phthalo blue and white. I might have still had a little bit of ultramarine in my brush, but that's okay. And again, the partner has a little bit of her color, you know, because they belong together, they match. Matchy, matchy. Needed to make this paint a little thicker. Okay. I'm going to go a little bit darker on my ultramarine blue bird now. Just a little darker. Just giving a little bit of form, you know, not much. Oh, that's a lot darker. Kind of imagining a rounded breast there and adding a little bit of dark. Right away, that brings our eye there, that little bit of form. Blendy, blendy, just a bit, not too much. Don't have to do a lot of blending with this style. Actually, I like that, the Dobby look. And maybe I'll bring this down. The tail does become kind of black. But I'm just dabbing in. I have, like, you know, broken color. Think of it as broken color. Keep that branch in front of their bodies. So you might have to come back in, you know, and paint the branch back in. That's okay. Sorry about the furnace. Loud, I know. Okay, I'm kind of getting this wing going on here. Making the wing just a little bit lighter. Okay. And it's okay if they're fat and happy. Right? All right, same thing on the other one. I'm going to do a little bit of a wing coming out. And then the wing comes down. Side of the body a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to rinse my brush out and put some white in that head. Wish I could paint this fast. Your paints get dry. Well, the reason why my paints are not getting dry, Helen, this is called a Oh my goodness, my brain. This is called a Masterson Stay Wet palette. Have you heard of this? I do have a demo on this in the membership. I think it's with the Apple study and how to set up your palette. And so this is a paper towel underneath here. It's actually a shop towel. And you can buy, and then this paper is a special paper called palette paper that goes with this Stay Wet palette. And it keeps the paint wet. And then you put the lid on when you're done, and you can have this palette for about 2 weeks. And the nice thing about this is I don't have to mist. If you add water on top of this, I hate it because it dilutes my paints and it's harder to paint. So I have this in a really big size, and then they have this travel size Stay Wet palette. Oh, you could make yours pink and blue. Good idea, Carolyn. Yep. Oh, so you're telling me I have 2 boys? Crap. Did I make 2 boys? Oh, just like with the cardinals. My cardinal painting is 2 boys. But Helen, if you have more questions or need help on that, just let me know. So, you know, the darker you make that background, the more their cute little heads are gonna come out. So I'm just kind of dabbing this white on. And again, you know, you gotta, you really do need to look at a reference for this, because I wouldn't know where to put these whites if I weren't looking at this, you know. I have never had a parakeet. I am not a bird person. Oh my goodness. It makes me nervous hearing them squawk. Oh, I don't like it. No offense. I hope I'm not offending anybody. If you're a bird lover, I don't know. You know how some things make you nervous? I had an aunt that couldn't stand to hear a baby cry, so she spoiled all of us. Some people just have things they just cannot bear to hear, you know. I cannot stand listening to birds. Okay. Do I have a link for one? If you remind me, I'll look for one for you, but if you just look up STA space WET palette, which I think is PALETTE, not to be confused with the other kind of palette. You should find it. Or it, you know, the brand is Masterson, MASTERSON. Okay, so that's kind of cool. And I could switch to, here, well, while I got this brush, let's just put some yellow-orange beak action. So of course we can make orange. I always grab the lighter color first. Grab some yellow, and then add tiny bit of magenta or your whatever red you've got. And we're just, you know, put this little beak in here. Oh gosh, I kind of globbed it in. So I need to do another coat of that. Somehow it's watery. It's okay, I'll come back to it. And then I'm going to switch to a nice fine liner brush. This would be a good time to use like this. I really love this brush. Just a really small detail brush. And grab some black. Get that cute little black eye in there. And then they've got these adorable little black lines. They're so small and kind of ruffly looking. So I'm just almost placing the tip of the brush down. Headache, eyes hurt. Oh, I'm sorry. Gonna be, yeah. Okay, Tammy. Sorry you're not feeling well, dear. Okay, so just like place the tip of the brush down. Now the black lines don't come around into the front of the face really, so. And they also don't go up too high on the top of the head. All right, and then they start happening on the wings. So I'm just going to put some of that out there, and then around this point is where the wings actually just become black. Or the tail and all that stuff. It's really black at this point. So again, this is going to bring that nice, this is the bottom of the wing, attention. Oh, maybe I made the wing too long. I don't know, maybe not. I kind of have elongated birds here. Yeah, that's not bad. And then we're going to do the same on this side. Yeah, this might be, if you're going to teach something like this might be, you got to stay loose for this. This would be good in watercolor too. I think this would be a good. So this one's wing might be a little bit different maybe. If you want it to be, it could be. And then I'm going to try and do the same little hints of, sometimes it's, I really do have to turn my canvas to be able to do the maneuvering to match what I did on one side, you know? Okay. Maybe I'll just make the feet black. Oh no, they look white, don't they? I think I'd rather have them black though. All right, so here's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Just loose. Okay. And then I can add my white stripes. So I'm going to let the black dry and I'm going to come back in. Oh, you got to go? Okay, Carolyn. I'm going to come back in and put the white stripes. And I'm going to do the flowers and then we're pretty much going to be done. So let's see. Let's do some flowers. So we did our distant flowers, which was just, you know, soft blobs of color. We did our branches, and now we are ready to do flowers. So we're going to go back to a larger round brush, and basically we're going to use some pinks. And whites. You know what? I want to hit their head with white again, just to really get this white to pop out. cleaning up around the beak a little bit. And sometimes the best tool is your finger to just create a soft blend. Yeah, I like that. I feel like I might get just a little bit more contrast back there. Now that I've got the head painted in, I can see that maybe the pink back there, or the purpley pink, could be just a little bit darker. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some ultramarine blue and some quinacridone magenta and white. And I'm just going to, oh yeah, look at what that does. Just a little bit darker. Yep. Look how that makes that head just come forward. So I'm going to turn it upside down and put just a little bit more of that. Of course, you know, you got to put it in other places too, so it's not so obvious what you did. So I'm just going to go around, blobbing around. I'm going to go blobbing around. I tell you, I do feel like I'm blobbing around lately. Oh my goodness. I'm here all night. No. All right. And maybe some a little bit higher. I kind of tend to make the corners of my paintings a little bit darker, just to kind of almost subliminally frame it. So I'm going to go ahead and put this color around the corners a little bit. And I'm losing that pretty aqua. I want to kind of get some of that back in. I don't want that to totally disappear. So the aqua was my phthalo blue, white, and the really tiny, tiny, tiny bit of cool yellow. And that, that just really makes it look springy. So let's come back in with that. Oh yeah, look at that. A little bit more of that. Oops, gosh, I grabbed way too much blue. Yeah, that's too blue, isn't it? But since it's on the bird, I'm going to kind of walk that color around a little bit too. You could definitely soften areas. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just kind of softening. And what's nice about this is I can decide where do I want to leave the colors that I painted previously. Where do I want to leave branches showing? I'm gonna wipe my brush off and maybe just grab, you know, well, I don't want to grab white because I don't want to compete with my birds. But what I'm going to do now is start really putting in some actual blossoms. So they're going to be like a whitish, you know, whitish pink. And they're really, it's a 5-point flower. And a lot of times I have to do half of the flower and then turn it and do the other half. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do half the flower and come back for the other half. So I'm doing 3 strokes, and then I'm going to add 2 more on the other side of all of these that I'm painting right now. And I may not even see all of them, and that's okay if I don't. All right, so let's go back and find some where I did 3, like right here. So I'm going to put the other 2 in. Boom, boom. Here's another one. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. You know, and if you can't quite get all of them in, that's fine. Or, you know, if it's easier for you to do all 5 petals at once, you know, go ahead and do that too. I like to do the stroke from the outside in. So let me show that close up, a little bit close up, how you do this 5-point flower. So what I do is I go 1, 2, 3, and then I turn it and go 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, turn it, 4, 5. And then later on what we're going to do, so that's what they look like, 5-point flower. And then you go in later with a smaller brush and you paint the center in. And I like to do like a, you know, you could do like that or something. Good, good. I'm glad you're going to stick around, Helen. All right, so that's that. So now up in here where I made this kind of darker and cooler, I think I'm going to do my flowers just a little bit whiter, a little bit more white in my mix. So, and I love painting these cherry blossoms. I really do. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Some of them could be 4 if you want also. Why not? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The more you do, the better you get. You can have some of them overlapping your branches. Oh, big glob. You do need a decent round brush for this. You want to have some of these flowers also going off the edge. And every once in a while, you kind of need to clean your brush out and reload it with, you know, fresh white. So anyway, you can kind of see the white ones up there. So you just basically fill it full. Okay, now I'm going to do some really punchy pink ones. So maybe like, where do I really want some attention? Maybe right by my birds, right? So think about that eye path that we talked about. If I look at this, if I stand back and look at this now, the eye might come in this way. It definitely wants to go around and look at this. How can I get the eye to come linger up here? I can use this branch, and then I can strategically place some flowers up here so that the eye, because the eye kind of follows, you know, where there's a dark line. So I'm just going to pull some of these up here and just kind of make the eye come around this way. So hopefully now the eye kind of goes up. Yeah, I think that helped. I do think that helped. So I'm using a little bit of reasoning in you know, why I place the colors where I put them, because I want the viewer's eye to travel in and around and enjoy the view and stop and smell the cherry blossoms, if you will. So yeah, I might go back in with a slightly stronger orange on the beak here now. Just a little dot of it is all I need. Kind of bring a little bit of attention there. And I think I'm ready to go back in and put my white lines on the wings and the head of the parakeets, and that's going to really punch up the contrast, you know, right on their heads, and again, bring attention to them. Come down their wing with this too. Fun, fun, fun. A little bit of white on the, maybe on the tips a little bit. I could even come in and do these claws in white now. Yeah, they look better in white, but it looks good to have the black behind. I'm doing these little vertical strokes here to kind of simulate the wing, the feathers. And I'm painting them, you know, the way that they go, you know, they're fluffy little kind of diagonal lines. A little bit of a L textured look to their hair, or their sides of the head. And I'd love to put a tiny little highlight right in the eyeball. So that's going to be a little hard, but I'm going to try. Oh, I think I did it. I did. Not great, but I did. Maybe I'm going to paint the beak with white and yellow because it's just not, yeah, that's better. And you know, looking at the reference, I see just a little bit of pink around the face. Very subtle. It's almost like a pale gray. So I think I want to put just a hint of that. Yeah. Again, I'm just trying to get form. Yeah. That looks better, I think. Okay. And maybe with this finer brush, I see just a couple of strokes that look a little too loose. And I think that's the beauty of it is that it's loose and fun. And then the other thing you can do is splatter. Now back here, I didn't put anything in the background. So I need to put some stuff back there and here. I kind of forgot about this. So let's go put something in there, you know. It looks like a hole, looks like it was forgotten. We don't want it to look like that, right? And then, oh, the other thing too is we can go back in and put our centers in on all the flowers. And I mean, you can sit and really carefully paint each of these flowers and make a really stunning cherry blossom painting. I've done that. I love cherry blossoms or apple blossoms, whatever they are. But, you know, I just didn't feel it was necessary to go into all that here, you know. You get the idea, I think. This line here is bothering me. I want to break that up, so let's do that real quick. I think that helped. I mean, it gets to where you can just kind of almost paint globs in. You know, and just make it really, really abstract. And now that beautiful light green is kind of all gone, so I think I do want to get some of that back in here because that really did give a spring look, right? So let's do that. And again, I'm just going to go around and make them little globbies. Yeah, I like this color. So it's like I'm, you know, painting leaves in now. Yeah, the green seems to really liven it up, doesn't it? Wow. It makes it really springy, I guess. And it really makes it feel like these are birds that are, you know, in a tree. But it's just a fun, I mean, I've never taught this class like this, but I think this would be really a fun class to teach people because they can totally customize it. This looks like a big mess right there. So, I mean, you know, you can always just let it dry and decide where you want to go back in and paint a really nice cherry blossom. And I'm going to have to go. I got to go see the tax accountant. But you can use a nail dotter and go back in and put your dots. I actually think I want to use, I don't think I want to use the bright red for the centers of the flowers. I think I'm going to use, I'm going to grab my nail dotter. I think I'm going to use white. So let's see if I can find a nail dotter. Yay, I found one. And I'm just gonna hit, you know, and this really makes a big difference. Don't leave this stuff out. These little dots, man, it just makes it so, I don't know, elegant or something. And sometimes I'll put dots where there really is no flower and it's okay. Then the brain thinks it's a flower. All these tricks we pull, we're so bad, aren't we? So see how those dot centers really help? Oops, I missed the center. So that is it. I hope you liked this class, you guys. I enjoyed it. You know, just paint one for yourself just to enjoy, because it actually is pretty fun, this one. And that's it. I hope you do this one, and if you do, let's call them spring lovebirds. Hashtag spring lovebirds. Let me write that down really quick. Hashtag spring lovebirds. Get a Sharpie. All right, there it is. Hashtag spring lovebirds. Thank you, Helen. It's so great to have you here. All right, bye guys.